Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Exodus, the 26th chapter. And I've pulled up the NLT on the side here for certain verses that are a bit easier to read and how it's worded in the NLT translation, which there are some other good translations out there as well when it comes to certain verses in the Old English. But in here, the Lord continues to show Moses the design and pattern and instruction on how to build here the tabernacle. So this is Exodus chapter 26, verse 1. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet. So the material of these 10 curtains would be of finely woven, put together linen of the colors blue, purple, and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work. So they would have the designs of cherubims, which are like angels, and the cunning would be like these would be like embroidered, right, as you can see right there. And let's see, embroidery on let's do knits, so you can see what that looks like. No, so this is an example, right? This is also an example. Is this images? Okay. So it's basically something like this, right? If you were to knit a sweater, this would be like an embroidery, right? That you would design it on top of it or as part of it. So it says here, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. The length of 1 cubit shall be 8. Salakia, the length of 1 curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits, and the breadth of 1 curtain 4 cubits, and every one of the curtains shall have 1 measure. So this would be the measurements of each curtain, and they should all be of the same measurements. 5 curtains shall be coupled together, one to another. So they're going to be 10 curtains total, but 5 should be basically sewed together, so it makes one long curtain or coupling of 5 curtains. And other 5 curtains shall be coupled one to another. And thou shalt make loops of blue upon the edge of the 1 curtain. And the loops, you could think of like a shower curtain, right? When you have a shower curtain, let's look up here. Shower curtain. Yeah. So this right here, or maybe a better one is something like this. Okay, hold up. Yeah. So these would be examples of loops, right? Those little holes in the edge of the curtain that allow you to be able to put a hook or, whatever you want to call this little metal piece. So that way you can attach the curtain to something else. Okay. So these would be the loops. And when you go into that word loops, all right, lawalaya, or lawa, yeah, anyway, it says here, loop used in attaching curtains to hooks. So it's that little hole that allows you to hook into the curtain. So the instruction here is to make loops of blue upon the edge of the curtain or of the 1 curtain. Now, when we go up, remember the colors here, right? So at the edge of the curtains, the color would be blue, and you would make loops in there. From the self edge of the coupling, and likewise thou shalt make in the uttermost edge of another curtain in the coupling of the second. So the the furthest most curtain, right? Because you have 10 curtains, they're all 5 of them are attached to each other. So you have two sets, right? Each of 5 curtains attached. So you're gonna take one set, you could say, of that 5 curtains that are attached, and on the very edge, on the furthest edge of it, you're gonna create those 50 holes, and that way you can put a hook into it. And so you're going to do the same thing for both sets of these 5 curtains. It says 50 loops shall thou make in the one curtain, and 50 loops shall thou make in the edge of the curtain that is in the coupling of the second. So the second coupling, the coupling is referring to that joined, the 5 curtains that are joined together. That's one coupling. So you have 2 couplings that make a total of 10 curtains. And you're going to make 50 loops in each of the furthest end curtain in a coupling. It says that the loops may take hold one of another. So the point of this was to join the to be able to join the 2 couplings together. So you would make something like, if you were to invert this, right? Let's say this is one curtain, and then below it you have like 4 more attached to it. So it's a really long curtain here. Then you have another one that looks just like this. And both this and that other one all have these holes in here. So imagine, instead of attaching this hook to a bar, you're connecting this hook into another curtain, okay, that has holes in it as well. This way you can attach these 2 long curtain couplings together through the hooks and the loops. It says that the loops may take hold one of another. And thou shalt make 50 taches of gold. And the taches are what's going to be used to, like the hook, like what we're seeing here. It says, and couple the curtains together with the taches, and it shall be one tabernacle. So when you hook the couplings together, using those hooks, you form one long curtain or tabernacle here of 10 curtains that have been put together. Verse 7, and thou shalt make curtains of goat's hair. So the first 10 was of linen. This is going to be of goat's hair, to be a covering upon the tabernacle. 11 curtains shalt thou make. So this is going to be 11. The length of one curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. And the 11 curtains shall be all of one measure. So it should all basically be the same measurements. And thou shalt couple 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. So before it was 5, 5. Now, since it's 11 total, you're going to couple 5 together and then the other 6 together. And shall double the 6th curtain in the forefront of the tabernacle. So what this means is, with the 6th curtain, you're going to fold it, all right, in half. So that's how you double it, right? You fold it because it's going to be longer. So as it says here, thou shalt double, when you go into that word, what's that? Kapal. It says to double or fold double or double over. All right. The 6th curtain in the forefront of the tabernacle. So basically at the one that's closest to the entrance or the edge of the tabernacle, you would basically fold it double inward. And I do have some images that I pulled up, just random ones that show a depiction of the tabernacle based on the description. So this is one, for example. Right, this is also good. This will come in handy as we go through more of the chapter. This is also going to come in handy. So you have a couple of these out here, one over here as well. So anyway, back to where we were. Verse 10, and thou shalt make 50 loops on the edge of the one curtain that is outmost in the coupling, so at the furthest end, and 50 loops in the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. So of the second coupling, right, you would make 50 loops in that as well. And this is so that you can join the 2 couplings together, like it was said for the linen. And thou shalt make 50 taches of brass, and put the taches into the loops, and couple the tents together, that it may be one. So now you have what was that, 11? It was split into 5 and 6, and now it's joined together. And the remnant that remaineth of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remaineth, shall hang over the backside of the tabernacle. So that, remember that it said it will be folded double, because this is uneven, right? You have the length of 5 on one side and 6 on the other. There will be a an extra half, right? That's remaining. And reading this in the NLT, it says the remaining 3 feet, which they use that to represent the half that is left over, of this tent covering will be to hang over the back of the tabernacle, and a cubit on the one side and a cubit on the other side of that which remaineth in the length of the curtains of the tent. It shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and on that side to cover it. It says here, allow 18 inches of remaining material to hang down over each side, so the tabernacle is completely covered. So going back to some of the images that I have here, right? These are all just depictions, rough depictions. But you can see here how you have the covering going across, right? And this is sort of like that protective layer over the tabernacle. Same here, right? You have the covering going across, and then probably one on the back side as well. Same here. Okay. Cool. Verse 14. And thou shalt make a covering for the tent of ram's skins dyed red, and a covering above of badger skins. And then once again, this was the protective layer, right? So you're layering these coverings over the tabernacle. And thou shalt make boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. And this is like it says, the frameworks or the pillars that would be, used to stand up the tabernacle, right? So let me move this here. So here, I found a little diagram of it, right? Of like what a board might look like. Has a little hole here as well. But so you're going to make boards. 10 cubits shall be the length of a board, and a cubit and a half shall be the breadth of one board. That's your length or your height and width. Two tenons shall be there in one board, or shall there be in one board, set in order one against another. Thus shalt thou make for all the boards of the tabernacle. So these will be the tenons, right? And that way, because you need a way to stand them up, right? You're not just going to balance it flat on the ground. It's not going to work. So these are like the little pieces here that would be created at the bottom of each of the boards. Verse 18, and thou shalt make the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards on the south side southward. And thou shalt make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards. Why? Because each board has 2 tenons. So you need 40 sockets. 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. So these would be the sockets, right? And since each board has 2 tenons, you need 2 sockets per board to stand it up. All right. I think verse 20. For the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, there shall be 20 boards. So on each side, right? Okay, maybe this isn't too bad. And I think these are supposed to be part of the boards as well. But on each side, you're going to have those boards. That's why I mentioned the south side and the other side, the north side. And there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, thou shalt make 6 boards. 2 boards shalt thou make for the corners of the tabernacle on the 2 sides. So there you go, right? You have you have the longer side, because the tabernacle is like basically rectangular-ish, right? So on the longer sides you had 20, and on the shorter sides, as it says, you had 6. And reading verse 23 again, and 2 boards shalt thou make for the corners of the tabernacle on the 2 sides, because you have let's go with maybe something like this, right? So if you were to even look at maybe this right here or this right here, you have you can have this side, which is okay, and you can have this side, but you need to be able to join them at the corners properly, right, and efficiently. So that's why it says here you would basically make an additional two boards, right, along with additional 2 frames to reinforce the rear corners of the tabernacle. And they shall be coupled together beneath, so their sockets will be designed in a way where those 2 boards would be able to be firmly attached to each other at each corner. And they shall be coupled together above the head of it onto 1 ring. Thus shall it be for them both. They shall be for the 2 corners. And we'll get into the rings as we go on down. And they shall be 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, right? Because you had 6 plus the additional 2. So that makes a total of 8. And their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under 1 board, and 2 sockets under another board. And thou shalt make bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle. And that's going back to this example here, right? You have the bars here. So as it says here, verse 27, and 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle for the 2 sides westward. I'll read this in the NLT as well. It says, I'll start at 26. Make crossbars of acacia wood to link the frames. 5 crossbars for the north side of the tabernacle, and 5 for the south side. Also make 5 crossbars for the rear of the tabernacle, which will face westward. So that's why you see in here 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, these are just examples to give you an idea of what it would have possibly looked like. Verse 28, and the middle bar in the midst of the boards shall reach from end to end. And I think that's why they show this one as going through and having a little hole in the board here. And the NLT says the middle crossbar attached halfway up the frames, when it says in the midst of the boards, because that's why it's the middle, will run all the way from one end of the tabernacle to the other. And thou shalt overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings of gold for places for the bars, similar to the ark, how it had rings that you would put the staves through to be able to carry it. So these would also have rings where the staves would go through, or the bars would go through. It says here, of gold for places for the bars, and thou shalt overlay the bars with gold. And thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof, which would shew thee in the mount. So when you set up the tabernacle, it's going to be according to this fashion here that we just read. And thou shalt make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen of cunning work. With the cherubims shall it be made, right? So basically, you're going to make a veil, like a giant curtain, and it's going to be of these colors. And as it says, fine twined linen of cunning work. So it's going to be woven, intricately. And the design of the cherubims will be embroidered onto it. And thou shalt hang it upon 4 pillars of shittim wood, overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold upon the 4 sockets of silver. And this example is pretty good, because that veil that it's talking about, it's going to be the separator between the most holy place, the Holy of Holies, and then the holy place. So this is the holy place. This is the most holy place. Verse 33, and thou shalt hang up the veil under the taches, that thou mayest bring in thither within the veil the ark of the testimony, otherwise known as the ark of the covenant. And the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy. And remember, the most holy, where the ark of the covenant or the ark of the testimony was basically the high priest would go in there once a year to make atonement for the sins of the people. Verse 34, and thou shalt put the mercy seat upon the ark of the testimony, so on the top of it, in the most holy place, almost like a lid. And thou shalt set the table without the veil. So remember, I think in the previous chapter, or maybe a chapter before that, Moses was showed the design of the table that should be made along with the candlestick and so on and so forth. So behind the veil in the most holy place, you had the ark of the testimony. And then in the holy place, you would have the table, right? That's why it says the table without the veil, and the candlestick over against the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south. So when you look at this example here, this would be the south side, and that would be the north side based on this picture we're looking at. So you would have the table, which is over here, and then you have the candlestick, which is over here. So you can see the candlestick is pretty big because it's supposed to give light to the area over there, right? Cool. It says, and thou shalt put the table on the north side. So it's the opposite side. So when the scriptures say over against, it's another way of saying across or across from. And thou shalt make an hanging for the door of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen wrought with needlework. So it's going to be, you're going to sew it together, right, with that thread. And that's this hanging over here to enter the holy place. And thou shalt make for the hanging 5 pillars of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, and their hooks shall be of gold. And thou shalt cast 5 sockets of brass for them. So they would be at the bottom, right? The things that would make them stand would be made of brass instead of silver, like the other ones. And that brings us to the end of the book of Exodus, the 26th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.